Everybody make sure you use your mics tonight.
Everybody make sure you use your mics tonight. Please. Mic on.
Perfect.
I got it.
Perfect.
We are live. We are live.
Call the City Council meeting for Monday, March 9th, 2026 to order. Please rise and join the flag salute.
But the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember White, Councilmember Kramer, Councilmember Farrell, Councilmember Parker, Councilmember Thomas.
Make a motion to excuse Councilmember White.
I have a motion and a second to excuse Councilmember White. Opposed, say nay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You opposed, say nay. I don't have a presentation tonight.
Make a motion to approve the agenda. Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion and a second. I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion and second. Motion and second to approve the consent agenda. Are there any questions? Everybody take a look at it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Jennifer, do you have a report?
No report on that.
Councilmember Fairley?
Nothing good this time.
I do have my report.
I do have my it's my very new budget one. It will get better. Not so on. But I want to let you know what I've been doing. I went back to down to the association mixer. I got to meet other constituents or other city council members. It was great. I met Mercer Island, or I was at Mercer Island. I met Newcastle. There were people from Pacific there. It was really a great experience. I loved it.
We had the presentation was supposed to be about.
FIFA and about how people are managing the larger tournament.
Outside of that
I'm largely outside of that realm, but I didn't know if we were going to have a party. A lot of cities were talking about having a FIFA party and having a FIFA watch party at their city council. So I don't know if that's like on the realm of stuff that are we even interested in this, or I don't know if it's a thing.
Can I answer? Yeah, it is on Gary's radar for doing. So there's sponsored FIFA watch parties, and then there's, I don't think you can call it a FIFA watch party or what have you, but we can do a more low-key version here at City. Excuse me, here at City Hall. And I did ping Gary about that to keep it on his radar and come up with something that we can do. Yeah. Plus, the U.S. men's team is on Juneteenth, and I think that would be a great segue into Councilmember White's event the next day. Is have the Friday night game here at City Hall, and then advertise for Juneteenth the next day.
Because he's very interested in
Yes.
sports. Mr. White is.
Yeah.
So he would probably be the guy of, okay, thank you.
What's the time?
For the World Cup, it's, I want to say the first game's the first week of June. Yeah. It goes throughout June. I think into July even.
The preparation, I was really surprised by this.
The preparation, I was really surprised by cities and how they prepare for such an event for their cities. It was really interesting to see what all goes into it.
And then the second.
And then the second thing that I've been kind of working on is city council compensation.
Not that I'm not digging this, because I totally dig this.
Not that I'm not digging this, because I totally dig this, and
But I wanted to make sure that we're on par.
but I wanted to make sure that we are on par with other cities, and we are. City council rents $300, like that's what we get a month, $300 per person.
like that,
every 2
which
weeks, like
is
185, something like that,
However,
which
this
is
does
great.
create a problem.
However, this does create a problem for small cities to compete with larger cities and what the city council can do for their city. So, for example, City of Auburn and which is the other one? City of Auburn and Renton, they paid about $20,000 for their person.
A lot of that has to do with taxes,
about
like how the city
12K. A lot of that has to do
can
with
actually
taxes and like how the city can actually
Which I'm-
afford to
that's
pay
not-
for their city council,
But
which
what is
that's
on my
not on my
radar
radar right
is
now.
looking into
But
stipends.
what is on my radar
Just
is
looking
looking
at
into
stipends
stipends
that
and seeing if stipends can be something that our city might be able to do for our city council so that we can engage with the community and we can collaborate with people who want to do things for our community and still have some of our
Just so we
expenses
can,
offset. Just so we can
serve
you know,
Algona better. So I've been talking to Mayor
serve
Troy
Algona
about
better.
it.
So I've been talking to Mayor Troy about it. I'll continue to like
You know,
stick
what do
around
other
and
cities
see,
pay?
what do other cities pay? Is it kind of normal for other cities to pay a stipend? It is. So we would be in the realm of normal. But those are some of the things that I was just backing up.
Thank you. I think it's very good compliments from Robert, the director of the SDA, participation in it. It was really good. I would give anything to head go up there with the whole council to me. You get a lot of people, you get some stories, you talk about what's going on in your city, you have some people you can talk to, you know, so I'll find out. I'll find out if there's women, where they're going to try to talk me up and see it. We're going to try to split up the CA level.
Is it most right?
In the first round.
So that probably is. Thank you. Thomas.
Yeah, thank you.
What I was going to talk about, I'm sure the chief's going to talk about, so we'll see.
Public Works, John? Public Works, John?
Yes, good evening, Council. And Mr. Mayor.
Yes, good evening.
Just give you an update for March 9th.
Just
Wilson
give you an update
Engineering,
for March
they're
9th.
doing the
Wilson
design
Engineering,
consultation
they're
of the survey
doing the design
of the areas
survey. All the areas that
we've taken some of the surplus assets to
we've taken some of the surplus assets
and
to
I think that
auction.
auction is at the end
And I think that
this
auction
month,
is at the end of this month.
scrap metal has been sent off.
Scrap metal has been
$350
sent
for the
off.
those 4 fire hydrants, miscellaneous pumps and motors.
Miscellaneous pumps and
The
motors.
HADO hearing we had on
The
February
HADO hearing we
27th.
had on February
Mr. Thomas
27th.
Nelson came out a couple
Mr.
of
Thomas
times.
Nelson
And
came out in a couple
we're
of
working with
times.
Zach on the next
And
steps.
we're working with Zach on the next steps.
There was
Attorney.
a homeless camp
There
that was
was
reported to PD.
Homeless camp that was reported
We
to
have
PD
found 5
today.
shopping carts full of
We
garbage
had
on the trail.
found 5 shopping carts full
Earlier
of garbage
that
on the
morning,
trail. Earlier that
those
morning,
carts were seen in Auburn.
those carts
We
were
don't
seen in Auburn, so we don't know how they got over to
King
our
County,
trail.
we had a meeting with King County.
King County, we had a meeting with King County.
10 benches,
and, they're looking
10
at
garbage
giving us
cans,
10
some doggy
benches,
stations for the trail.
10 garbage cans and some
They
doggy
also
stations
had
for the trail.
$500,000 allocated.
They also had $500,000
on First
allocated
Avenue,
for
on
use
First Avenue,
on First Avenue,
in
on
the
First
trail.
Avenue.
The old signals
in the
we'll be able
trail.
to keep and we
The
can
old
potentially
signals
look
we'll
at
be able
putting
to
them
keep
somewhere
and we
else.
can
I don't know,
potentially look at
council
putting them somewhere else.
like
I don't
those,
know where the
maybe on
council
8th Avenue there in
would like
Algona.
those. Maybe on 8th Avenue there in Algona.
The speed bump on First in Washington is
The speed
being
bump on
investigated.
First in
You'll notice,
Washington is
by the railway
being
tracks there,
investigated. You'll notice
there's a pump
by the
there.
railway tracks there.
So
that-
we're doing some
there's a
ground
pump there.
penetrating radar here
So
in
we're
the next
doing
few
some
days
ground penetrating
to see what's
radar
actually
here in the
under
next
there.
few
Maybe
days.
some old
To see what's actually under
pipelines.
there. Maybe some old
It's not
pipelines.
King County
It's not King County.
force main.
Force
West
main.
Valley we're going to be picking up garbage
West
tomorrow.
Valley, we're going to be picking up garbage tomorrow.
We made a job offer for
And
utility
we made
worker.
a job offer for utility
So
worker.
the first couple pictures
Um,
just what mental
so
auction.
the first
some
couple
of the
pictures
items
is just what
that
mental
are
auction, some of the
scrap
items that
metal
are
that we took.
inclusive, the scrap metal that we
At
took.
the back of the page, you can see
The
a
back
water
of the
line
page, you will see
that goes all the way to the ditch.
water line
We're
that goes all the way to the ditch.
install
We're
a water
getting ready
pump.
to install a water pump.
It'll be a temporary
that we
measure
have.
until
It'll be a temporary measure
water
until
pump,
the new
lift station.
water pump,
Gets designed.
lift station, gets designed.
If you have any questions, please
gets
let me know.
constructed. If you have any questions, please let me know. I had a couple. First one is first in Washington. That's kind of accident there that knocked out the traffic box there at some point. Southwest corner there.
Not been reported to the police.
It's not been reported to us.
I'm sorry.
It's not been reported to us.
Well, that's your word. So
All right,
just-
that's up.
I want to check that out.
All right.
The other one is, where is Easy Fiber at? I mean, I got locate marks all up and down my street for a long time.
I'll take this, let me take it. So we've got to stop working on it because it's a minor percentage. And we negotiated that out and today, so we've been back to work today and they're working the right way. Right? Three different, he told me there's three different sections in the works.
I'm just so on, I think I know where all the garbage came from. So when I go on my walk, I come up like, I'll look at the boulevard and around, that one, is that down here boulevard? The one that separates us from Auburn.
Right.
Yeah. Right there in that bushy area, the huge homeless encampment, and the city of Auburn has been posting signs for code enforcement, and they've been like rescuing people out. So they leave that place in the morning, and then they come to our camp, because that's where I totally came. So I know that hopefully something will happen, with the Auburn police, and I'll be able to.
With that, so,
With that being, so when you're saying that you can't give us 10 minutes off from our the trail, that's like from our sign, right? All the way down
Whatever's
to Jack in the Box.
classified as state road.
Whatever's classified as a city road, yes.
Okay.
Last night at 7 dinner at Red Robin. Last night at 7 dinner at Red Robin, and there was like six other places in the corner of 15 Southwest and the east entrance of Red Robin with a bunch of homes that people out really don't, but they're not shut for those people,
We'll adjust accordingly.
We'll adjust accordingly. Thank you.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I got a couple questions. Yeah. How often does the trash pickup go on West? Way back, I thought that part of the deal with King County, the transfer station, their guys were supposed to pick up the trash on that road, and they were picking up the trash on that road, up until the time they started building the new one. I used to see King County out there every couple of
They
weeks.
have
picking up
been,
the trash.
yes, but
They have
lately
been,
it's not
yes,
been
but
being ramped up.
lately it's not been being.
Started out, started out, there was 4 or 5 gallon buckets in a roll of carpet out there, now there's still 1 5 gallon bucket of paint, it's been there for almost a month. That was on my list to talk to you about. So that was on my list to talk to you about. The other thing is, covered that. First Ave, the other thing is, where First Avenue, where the water goes underneath the culvert, the water goes underneath the culvert there, First Avenue. 167. Down by the freeway,
Yeah.
down 167. Our sidewalk is dropped down almost a foot. Our sidewalk is dropped there almost a foot. Right where the culvert goes underneath. Sticking up on the and it's shining up on the one side, either need to a giant, pull that sidewalk, either need to pull that sidewalk out and just fill it with gravel. I mean, it's,
We'll take a look at it tomorrow.
okay, I mean, it's, we'll take a look at it. Okay. And then, can anything be said, anything more be said about the Hollywood apartments? Or the,
We're preparing a report.
we're preparing a report. Okay.
What's the report? I guess I'm with Tim. Yeah, we had you guys had the hearing. And I know the mayor's team here, they raised all kinds of, what Mr. Thomas,
Well, the conclusion, the way it was looking at it now is,
The way we've been looking at it now is
to have, we want to demolish it. If, then he has, I think 30 days to appeal.
I think 30
And
days to appeal.
if, to a hearing examiner, if he doesn't like what the hearing examiner says,
If he
then
doesn't
he
like
can take,
what the hearing examiner
I
says,
think legally
then he
to
can
court.
take this,
over it.
I think legally to court over it.
It's a step-by-step process,
It's a step-by-step process.
but we're doing everything we can. We
But
had
we're doing
the
everything we can.
video
We had the
transcribed.
video
and,
transcribed.
sent that to Zach last
sent
Friday.
that to Zach last Friday.
Nice.
I think maybe Jessica was talking to him today.
And I spoke to Zach today, and he said early next week he'll have the first draft over to John and I. I have another item I need him to complete over the next couple days for the Algona Village project, and then he's going to finish the other for us.
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, good evening. Last week was a really hectic week. I did not prepare what I thought instead was I would answer any of your questions about the significant incident that occurred. But before that happens, there are going to be some things that I can't talk about. I'll just lay the initial groundwork. At about 8:22 in the morning, we got called along with the city of Pacific that there was an active shooter situation at 436 Milwaukee Boulevard. You guys know that. That's a house that's literally one of the last houses in the city that borders Pacific. Officers from both departments responded. When we got there, there were sounds of gunfire and coming from the home, and actually the shooter stuck the gun out and started firing in the direction of Milwaukee. Not really at anybody, but you could hear the rounds, bouncing around. A family member engaged the person doing the shooting. A altercation ensued. During that altercation, Pacific officer fired one shot, striking the shooter, and then officers from Auburn, Algona, and Pacific went in and cleared the house. We made sure we evacuated the house. Inside the house, there were two wounded, one 36 years old, received a superficial wound to the leg, and a teenager that was shot in the stomach and was life-flighted to Harborview Medical Center, where they underwent surgery for about 8 hours. They are still intubated and still in intensive care today, but they are the suspect was pronounced dead at the shooter was pronounced dead at the scene. If you're not aware, Washington state law requires an independent investigation to be conducted, and in this area, we have a memorandum of understanding, and we have summoned the Valley Independent Investigative Team. Within about 2 hours, 30 detectives that responded to the scene. We set up a command post here downstairs. During the incident, the school was locked down. It's less than a block. I take full responsibility for that, but I would rather be safe than sorry. The person that was doing the shooting is not from Algona. actually from Salt Lake City. He was set to start trial the day of the shooting for a serious felony in Salt Lake County. Instead of attending his trial, he decided he was going to drive up here and engage family members who do live in Algona and start shooting. So with that, I'll entertain questions.
Well, as a council, let's defer to council.
Yeah, I don't have any questions, but I do want to commend you for the decision of shutting the school down temporarily.
I was curious. The type.
I'm not going to get into particulars. It was at AR style. I know a caliber. I'm just not getting. It's still an open investigation. Anything else? Oh yeah. I actually, when I got the call, I was getting in the shower and I was going down to it was a travel day, so I had shaved. Ball cap on, a shirt on, and pair of pants. At the end of the day, I was really impressed. I got a lot of support. I got a lot of support from the surrounding agencies. Everything went very smooth. Everything went very smooth. There were a few hiccups. There were a neighboring agency and a mayor. You can kick me later, but I was very thankful that everyone on this side of the city had a very good professional demeanor about them, and the investigation was smooth.
Alright. So, Easy Fiber, we already talked about that. One additional piece of information is that they have 5 solicitors that have gone through the application process here at the city. We have no issues with the background that they've given, so they were issued 5 permits for solicitation. So you'll see 5 folks canvassing, trying to solicit Easy Fiber. I keep hearing it's a really good deal, so we're just anticipating some phone calls. If you don't want any solicitation, they need to follow the rules. Like if there's a sign or anything on the property that says no solicitation, they need to follow that. There's very specific language on the permit that if someone asks for it, they need to present it, and then the city reserves the right to revoke it. So if we have any issues with these solicitors going out, we'll handle it accordingly.
Anybody soliciting in the city needs to have a permit to do so. Absolutely. Wow, that's a handy piece of information to have. Someone who has no soliciting signs on each side of the house, yet still gets asked for it.
Has to see their soliciting.
That's what happened here. They came to my house, and the first question I said is, "Do you have a permit?" And what's a permit? You know, you can't solicit in the city, and I don't care who you're with.
Yeah, we put it on hold because of the stop work order. So we wanted to make sure we got all that in line before we issued any permits. Yeah, just asked to see the little permit. And, yeah. Upcoming events. This Friday we actually have a family game night hosted by your junior ambassadors. We'll be doing a concession stand. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. We're gonna have 9 tables with various family games, board games. We'll even have it's not an Xbox, one of those gaming systems up, and we'll have a sign-up sheet and kids can take turns playing it. Yeah, the kids are really excited. They were making posters before the meeting tonight. Yeah, so Friday, what time was that? 5? 6 to 8:30. So you should have done the report for tonight. We also are trying a new thing this year called Algona. We're going to do a night Easter egg hunt Friday, April 3rd. Gary was actually just this morning talking about ordering glow sticks and figuring out what colors to do because darker colors you won't be able to see out there. So he's getting everything ramped up for that. The next day, Saturday, April 4th, we'll have our regular Easter egg hunt. We are still looking for donations, candy donations, or even volunteer time to help stuff eggs. He just took 1,000 eggs up to Bear Paint to stuff this morning. And then the recycling event that's scheduled for May 2nd.
You take cash donation.
Yeah,
for the
I can do that.
Easter egg hunt, or-
Yeah, not a problem. Just make sure when you drop it off, just let Julie know what it's designated for. Make sure it's put in there for that. Yeah.
Do you need people to party for the Algona thing?
Always. We'll probably need folks out in the field just to make sure kids aren't running into each other. Okay, someone with a safety flashlight just to be sure.
Someone with a safety flashlight, just to be sure. I'll get a hold of Gary.
And then if you remember, last meeting we gave council a confidential attorney letter from Zach in regards to, I guess I could say, the Hadu situation for consideration. I'll have you guys take one, pass it around just as a reminder. There is a motion in there for council's consideration. If you do want to consider it tonight, I'll just ask that you amend the agenda to include it as a new business item. And you can just say include Hadu Apartments as new business item in your motion, if you're ready to consider it. I know someone was gone when we had our. Yeah, we had an executive session about the matter, but this memo talks about it. And we talked about it. So.
Any questions for Jessica? In my report tonight, I want to start talking about the pedestrian walkways. I said, yeah. We talked about it for 3 years. Early April, early May. This project involves the construction of a pedestrian walkway and license back running north along the west side of Algona Boulevard from Fifth Avenue northwest of our southern border to Baton Boulevard, our northern border. The letter will be sent to residents affected by construction, explaining what to expect during and after construction. I'm hoping word starts getting down to the ground because by the time this is done, west side parking on the west side, all the parking will be on the east. All the parking will be on the east. We're gonna have roads gonna have that section's gonna be widened. That section's gonna be widened. It's probably gonna be a curb. This all the way through town. Curb. Still be able to get to your driveway. Still be able to get to your driveway. You'll still be able to park your trash cans out. But there west side parking on the west side will all be painted and striped. It'll all be marked. It'll all be painted and striped. I want to be crosswalks. I want to start bringing that up. So as we go, it has ES fiber, finish that side. It has easy fiber, finish that side of the road. They'll have start construction. They'll have it before we start construction.
With all the garbage cans out to the extreme. They're gonna be able to move the garbage cans out to the extreme.
Yes. We're working that out at Waste Management as we speak. Any other questions?
You gotta put a limit of time. Garbage cans. You gotta put a limit of time. People buy garbage cans out.
Never thought of it.
People buy that.
We never thought of it, I think they suggest.
That's a good question. And last week I was in Nashville, Tennessee, attending
Last week I was in Nashville, Tennessee, attending fiduciary training in December. I was nominated and elected to serve on the AWC, which is all Washington City, and the RMSA Board of Directors.
RMSA is
trustees. RMSA is AWC's insurance pool, serving 116 cities throughout the state. And that's all I have. Is there any questions for me?
Thanks for traveling for us.
audience participation.
Audience participation.
City council encourages public participation in city council. Meetings of the city council and welcome your comments. This time is set aside to speak to the city council on any issue. The council ordinarily takes advisory in the matter under your also invited for taking action. You're also invited to comment on action items if they are considered during the meeting. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each addressing the city council. When addressing the council, please speak clearly and audibly, and state your name and address for the record.
Yes.
When they did the overlay on Ellingson. When they did the overlay on Ellingson, I thought that the overlay was supposed to be eliminate all the standing water along the
What portion?
well, we used the Milwaukee Boulevard south. Well, the railroad, we used the Milwaukee Boulevard south, the railroad
okay.
tracks and together on the north side. And then, another thing is investigating the AU process. Investigating the AU process, I discovered that outside the city of Algona, the minimum lot size of the city of Algona is 8,000 square feet, whereas neighboring communities is 7.6. I wonder if that might create some opportunities, generate revenue, potentially, generate more revenue, add potential revenue. Add more revenue than that, is what all that things that go with that, and might be that I hope. That nature. But I looked, but I was curious why, and I looked at it, and I don't think there's really too many projects, but it might open the impact. But it might open up.
I'm not sure where you're headed. I don't. Well, I'm not sure where you're headed. I don't.
Well, I was just thinking that if, having a minimum lot size of 8,000 square feet versus say 6,000 square feet, get more subdivision, get more residents, more, you could get more economic activity.
When we had worked, done people, and set up, and have it done, it's snowed down. People look at it, it's snowed down here. Well, look at what, yes.
Yes, like I discovered. I don't understand why. I don't understand why is 8,000. Why is
You have to go back.
Can I pipe in? So we just worked through the middle housing stuff this last summer, which went through planning commission and council, and that was one of the things they considered as lot sizes for first subdivision. Oh gosh, I'd have to go back and look. I do know there was like a feeling of keeping the small town feel and bringing more housing in it. So I know that was one of the ideas behind it. I know there's, so don't quote me totally, but I'd have to go back and look.
That was a big, if I remember right, that was like part of the conversation. Not having houses on top of each other, like stay down. There is a bill that's coming up where a gentleman's taking his own house for 315 divided in this 1,500 foot homes going in.
It's upset. North.
It's upset.
North.
They're really useful. They're really useful.
It's 12,000.
Yeah, what they're doing is they're taking one parcel.
What they're doing is they're taking one parcel,
putting
master parcel, and then
number
putting
what's called a unit lot line subdivision. It's like almost like a condo. You know, you build a condo. You know, divide it into ownership. Tacoma does that. They'll take an 8,000 square foot for 4 houses.
They'll take an 8,000 square foot lot.
Two facing to the back alley, two facing to the front street. And so it's a master
front street.
so it's a master parcel for
subdivided for
children.
One of the reasons why that question well, under Washington state law, if you put it right, you put it even sell property, you could sell that.
If you could sell that to somebody, what size,
You can sell that to somebody, you can only sell the size of the lot in the city. You can only sell the structure, you can't sell the land.
so that would raise confusing questions.
So that was raising confusing questions.
I was curious if there was good answers.
I was curious if there was good answers.
I think the world's changed.
The world is changing.
I'm sorry. The regulations are changing,
That's
and
right. The regulations
some
are
cities are
changing,
allowing
and,
that unit
some
lot
cities are
subdivision.
allowing that.
And you could actually then, if you're in that
And you
city,
could actually then,
subdivide
if you're in that city,
ADUs.
subdivide your ADU unit.
We have language in our code already for unit lot subdivision. For the specific project that's being brought up tonight, it's they consider it cottage housing, and we don't have the language in the code. But later in the agenda, we are going through and I have John Greenwood, one of our planners, on here, who's going to speak on this later. We have the development regulation consistency analysis, as well as the permanent support and transitional housing, where that is going to be part of the ordinance, where we're going to consider all middle housing for unit lot subdivision. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you.
Can I just add, first I'd like to say I really appreciate your art.
First, I'd like to say I really appreciate your art. It sounds like you do care about Algona and you want to see us grow and build.
Yes, exactly, yeah. And I guess the
Yes,
other part
exactly,
I'd say
yeah.
is that.
And I guess the other part I'd say is
Mayor
that,
Troy is saying
to be back to what Mary Troy is saying, and Jessica is that we had the planning commission for a long time. Before that, there was another housing council. I was part of that housing council where they did ask, like, what would you like to see in Algona? Types of residences, like condos, small little cottages, like what would you like to see? So there is a lot of community involvement from the city to Algona on what you would
I
like
don't know
to
if
see.
it's possible, but asking those
I don't know if
questions
it's
about
possible, but
how would you like
asking
to
those
see
questions
Algona
about
grow?
how would you like to see Algona grow, so there are those opportunities in the
We do
city.
talk a lot about growing and building.
We do talk a lot
And there are
about
opportunities.
growing and building,
In case you're interested.
and there are opportunities
Does that
in
make sense?
case you're interested
There's
more.
the housing
That makes
commission, there was
sense.
the
Like
housing.
there's the housing commission, there was the housing planning. There are other opportunities to have your voice heard.
spent 2 years we just spent 2 years and $200,000 on our, if you really want comprehensive plan, if you really want comprehensive plan, comprehensive welcome to the page. It's all online. It's on our website, and it's like a comprehensive plan, and it explains all the questions you just asked. Okay. I'm not being sarcastic.
No, I'm good. Well, I sat in here on some of the meetings and I really had a certain perspective. But since there have been changes since then in the last couple of years. Well, now where you see where exactly are we? You see things like these, wow, I
What you're running into is that every mayor, legislature
Nasty changes
makes
in what they think they want.
nasty
us as
changes
cities.
in what they think they want
And
us as cities.
99% of that comes from the state.
99% of that comes
So
from.
we have to change our code every year.
And so we have to
revise
change our code.
Our comprehensive.
We have to revise our
So
comprehensive.
they make it tough.
Yeah.
They're trying to run the city from
So they make it tough because they're trying to run the city.
I can understand. I guess maybe, I'm gonna ask shortly after conference. Shortly after this,
And by that time, you get that, they'll change again.
And by that
I
time,
just
it's
thought
got to change again.
Yeah, I just thought it would be something they maybe the city might
We
want to
look
look
at
at.
that stuff on a daily
We look at that
And
stuff on a
watching
daily basis.
So again, the law changes on a daily basis, so
The state wants us
we try to follow when the state wants us to do.
we don't look at
And
it.
it's continue to
You know, it's like,
decide.
we don't look at it, we have to update our
You know,
code.
it's like we have to update our code, our comprehensive plan year for year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Is there anything about-
Anybody else have anything?
Let's move on to discussion items. Item A,
Discussion items, item A is parks, recreation, and.
All right, we do have Asher here with EJ Municipal Planning Group, and he's going to go over this first draft for a pros plan.
All right, hi there, everyone. So, Jessica and Mayor Troy said I will be presenting you guys, I guess, the pros plan. And I guess to get things started, the pros plan stands for Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Plan. And this plan, so I guess first of all, the pros plan will be found through your guys' packet today. And I won't walk you through every page, so that'll take another 4 hours. But I'll just give you sort of a general outline of the purpose of the plan, the eligibility elements that go into it, as well as some next steps for you that you guys. The purpose of the plan primarily is to establish a roadmap for decision-making regarding parks and recreation opportunities in Algona. So this includes a list of projects and program recommendations, city budget, and other funding sources within the city plans. And the purpose of the document is to help guide future park growth and kind of get an understanding of the needs within the city for parks and recreation. The reason that we created this plan specifically is to make the city eligible for state funding grants from the Washington State Recreation and Conservation Office, or they'll be referring to it as RCO. So RCO gives out various grant opportunities for parks and recreation projects, and they run on pros plans run on a 6-year schedule. So when you guys adopt this plan, it'll be eligible for the next 6 years. And during that time, you'll be able to apply for RCO grants that fit the needs of the city's parks. Or parks. And kind of the final purpose of this plan was to increase the city, the need your guys' understanding of the needs of the parks, both from a community standpoint and from a, say, public works maintenance standpoint. Yes, that's kind of the general. So that's kind of the general outline of what the plan is and why we help you guys create it. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to speak up.
I have 3 things. I have 3 things. And it's more of a housekeeping thing. On page 22 or 31, one or the other, since we have 2 numbers, I don't know which one we're going by. Okay. Frank Mason water access. We have Frank Mason Parks, which we don't have Frank Mason Park in our city. Water access.
Oh, yes.
Water access.
Oh, yes.
So that's a housekeeping issue.
Okay, we will make sure that you bring that.
Okay, 37 on page 37. We have 37. We have 7.1.3 ball recreation trends. It says declining traditional sports. Granite Falls Little League, which we believe this came from Granite Falls originally. Okay.
Page 75.
All right, page 75. mentioned Park. The address is 402 Ward Street, not 402 Wood Street. Other than that, very good. Other than that, it was a very good reading. This is my Sunday afternoon. I read the book. I was going to say you found the same ones? You didn't find a different one? Okay, well, that's all I have.
Any other questions, comments?
I just have one on page 8. I'm on the city council and planning commission. I think we need to update the planning commission part.
All right. Double pay.
That's all I have.
I have one more thing, and I could be wrong on this, but page 4 or page 13. I'm not sure if the 3rd Avenue Pocket Park and the Stanley Avenue Park are not switched. Not 100% sure. Right.
I think that's right, but 3rd Ave Pocket Park, I think we call that Swing Park. You know, there's one park that's just swings, and I think it's that one.
There's one park that's just yeah.
All right.
All right, so I guess after that, I'll just sort of run you guys through some of the elements of the RCO eligibility that PRO's plan covers, and also talk you through the capital improvement plan and the next steps. So the 5 elements of RCO eligibility that we covered in this document are goals and objectives, and these are actually pulled from the town's 2024 comprehensive plan park element, and inserted into this plan that covers the criteria. We did an inventory of the park facilities, which was also done in the comprehensive plan. We pulled that over and made some minor updates to that, as well as public involvement, which was done through community surveys, and also community billboards, or comment boards that were downstairs. And then we did a demand and need analysis, as well as a capital improvement. So those are the 5 major. So those are kind of the 5 major elements of our eligibility, and based on those are all included in this document, and based on work we've done with other jurisdictions, we believe that this should be approved by our state. All right, so talking about the capital. All right, so talking about the capital improvement plan. So it sounds like you guys have all looked through this document. So really what we're looking for is if you have any notes, anything you want added to move from the capital to the 6 to 20-year capital improvement plans that we and if there's not. So finally, the next steps. So finally, for the next steps for the early plan, so there will be a public hearing on March 23rd council meeting, and that'll be the next meeting, and that'll be your guys' second touch. And then the third touch will be the April 13th meeting, with the goal being for you guys to adopt the first plan, and then and then once the plan is adopted at the April 13th meeting, then we will work to submit the plan and self-certification document to the state recreation and conservation office by April 15th. This is the deadline for the meeting, so it is important that you guys adopt it on the 13th, and if not, then we can communicate with RCO to get a deadline extension. So after that is done, and after the plan is fully adopted and certified by state RCO, then we will work with you guys to seek funding for various grants and project that you want done for this next grant funding cycle, which the deadline is April 5th of this year. So it's a pretty short turnaround time between adoption and then certification and then pursuing grants, but we'll help you guys. And then finally, what we're going to do is include this plan as a document of reference in the comprehensive plan during your guys' next annual update 2026. And that will allow you guys to extend the eligibility of this plan from next year that I talked about earlier, and extending it through the whole comprehensive plan periodic time period, which would extend its eligibility through the end of December 2035. So we'll work with you guys to do that during the next part. That's all I think. And that's what we're doing.
So for any other questions?
Yeah. Yeah.
Item B is 2026.
Item C is 2026, 2027, King County Waste Reduction and Recycling Grant Fund.
It's so light. Alright, so this is the first review of the King County Waste Reduction and Recycling Grant contract for 26 and 27. This is one of the two grants that we use for our annual recycling event. We have $20,000 for each year, so $10,000 for 26 and $10,000 for 27. Any questions? This is a pretty regular grant for us, so. Oh gosh, off the top of my head. Well.
Does it exceed 20?
Between the local hazard. Oh gosh, that other grant we just passed. Local hazard something waste grant. I want to say the total cost for the contractor company that we use to do all the work for it. It's about $15,000. A year. Yeah.
A year?
Yeah.
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 Any other questions?
See no new business, old business,
See no new business, old business is item A, South County Area Transportation Board Agreement.
Any questions on the agreement? This is third review. What was that? Okay. Yeah, there's, and I apologize, I don't know why this packet printed really light. Hopefully you can read it.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the mayor's execution of the South County Area Transportation Board Agreement.
motion, second.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the mayor South County Area Transportation Board. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Ordinances and resolution, ordinance 1260.
Ordinance and resolution, ordinance 1260-25, development regulation consistent.
All right, so it's been a minute since we've talked about this. It's been since November, October. We were waiting for Commerce to give us some comments. We've been working with Drew out of Zach's office, City Attorney's office on this. He's the Middle Housing expert, well, Growth Management Act expert. I do have John Greenwood with our planning group here to refresh everyone's memory. Yeah, take it away, John.
Yes, good evening, Council, Mayor. This is John Greenwood, EJ Municipal, coming back to you for the third bite of the apple. This is the Development Regulation Consistency Analysis Ordinance, which essentially takes those changes from your comprehensive plan and puts them into action in your municipal code, with one exception. We've pulled out under a separate item something regarding the permanent supportive transitional housing, which we'll touch on after this item. But everything that is encompassed in the DRCA ordinance is as was provided to you previously on a number of different items. The one thing that has changed since then that I will bring your attention to is Section 8. There is a reference to Section 19. Within Section 8, Section 19.22.030, subsection A is an alpha. This is what your city administrator was mentioning about unit lot subdivisions. Over the past few months, with two different members of the public having conversed with myself, they were interested in doing a unit lot subdivision, which is, as your public works director indicated, it's essentially taking one big parcel and chopping it up into smaller ones, or as they say, the adult and parent parcels. So right now in your code, essentially the only unit lot subdivision you can do is for facilities that are residential that have a shared wall. And these individuals, these two members of the public, indicated an interest in doing it beyond that for other forms of middle housing. So what we did was we reviewed comments from Commerce as well as with your city attorney, and doesn't seem to be anything wrong with this from a technical perspective. Commerce actually recommends this. So what we are proposing is removing the specific language with regards to shared walls, in this case duplexes, townhouses, and courtyard apartments, and we are indicating that ULS should be allowable for all forms of middle housing. And that is everything from duplex all the way to sixplex. Besides that, nothing else has changed in this ordinance, and if you have any questions, please feel free to pose them right now.
So on the lot, is your subdivision, is there, like we were talking earlier, yeah, then you go 5 to 3, or is it like 4? Can you go 5 to 3, or is it 4 to 4, or is that all?
I believe it's slightly more complicated than that, depending on the zone that we are looking at. But essentially, the way that, if you can think about it, is the parent lot has to abide by the general rules. So in this case, if the parent lot, let's say the requirement is that the parent lot needs to be, say, 8,000 square feet, but the subunit lots within that do not need to meet that requirement so long as the parent lot meets those requirements. So that is how essentially the ULS process gets around something like that. That's just an example for numbers, just in case there was somebody in the audience there that was listening to that.
What if somebody in the audience question? What if somebody in the audience question that might be along those lines?
Yes, then I would direct that individual to speak with Mr. Dean Wenner, who would most likely give you a thumbs up for a 30 to 50-second conversation with me to knock that one out of the park. All right, we'll take care of it.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 1260-1260-25.
Have a motion to second. Have a motion to second to approve ordinance 1260-25. Favor say questions?
Aye.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Item B is ordinance 1259-25. Item B is ordinance 1259-25. Permanent support and
All right, this is another one I'm going to hand over to John to give us a refresher on.
All right, this was the one accompanying ordinance, council members, to your DRCA ordinance. This was essentially required some additional work that we wanted to pull out so that we could highlight that we were meeting the requirements of the underlying, I believe it's House Bill 1220. Asher can correct me if I'm wrong, for this particular piece of legislation. And it essentially gets at, as the title indicates, is certain types of housing that are either temporary, very temporary, or supportive in the sense that certain services are provided to individuals that are living in those facilities. Not to be confused with emergency housing. This is something different, but cities are required under the Growth Management Act to plan for this type of housing to a degree. So what we have done is, again, this is the third touch on this item as well. It has gone over to Drew over at Ogden Murphy Wallace for review. It has gone to Commerce for a 60-day review. No issues in any area that I'm aware of. So it is coming back for a third touch with the council, and unlike the DRCA, nothing has changed with regards to this ordinance, is my understanding.
I had a quick question. I know the state legislature around with committee. One now, I don't know if it's talking about committee or not. We're talking about housing to limit that type of housing to that type of housing to industrial areas. Is there any correlation with that one?
I'm not certain about that, but Asher, please feel free to jump in and correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that permanent supportive transitional housing must be allowed in any areas that provide for residential housing. Is that correct, Asher?
Yeah.
Is that the one that's they're talking about now?
Oh, right now?
Right now? Yeah, they're talking about it now.
I'm not sure.
We are taking numerous study sessions on our own regarding this topic because, among other things, we stay on top of this for the city of Algona. We are coming back to the Planning Commission with a laundry list of housing-related bills. With regards to something that's going through the legislative session right now in Olympia, it likely will not be for a few weeks, if not months, before we understand the full breadth of what they have, I guess a nice way would be to say, empowered us to change in our code, and by what time. Because what I will say too is, for the council's information, the list that is coming in front of the Planning Commission for their 2026 work plan does not include items that did get passed but are not due until 2027 or 2028. So there is more work to be done. So we will, of course, give a legislative update at a later point in time.
Thank you.
There is one, Councilmember Thomas, making his way through the legislature, just passes. So they got 3 days left.
I know it had campaign.
Correct.
I know it had campaign. I know that it did make it through some
Make a motion to approve ordinance 1259. Make a motion to approve ordinance 1259-5.
The motion is second. The motion is second to approve ordinance number 1259-25. Any questions?
Aye.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Item C is resolution 130. Item C is resolution 1308-26.
Okay, so this was a clerical error on my part. I labeled 2 resolutions with the same resolution number, and council passed both of them. So, I am asking for council to make a motion to renumber the King County Parks Levy Agreement to 1308 instead of 1306. And the motion's there. Yeah, I labeled it with the correct resolution number, and then down in the motion, we're changing it from 1306 to 1308.
I made a motion to renumber resolution. I made a motion to renumber resolution 1306 King County Park Levy Agreement to resolution 1608 26 that approves resolution.
I will bring you cookies next council meeting.
Bring me cookies.
No, it's put her
Are there any questions?
No, it's put her back.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Yes, thank you.
Next workshop,
I can do the speed cameras. We have some data.
Do the speed
See what
cameras, we
direction
have
council
to
wants to go.
see what direction council wants to go.
Sounds good.
anything else for good of the order?
Yeah, this memorandum, I feel that. I
Yeah,
feel that
yeah,
we
please.
should
You guys can take your time to consider it.
Yeah, please.
So, we have full council.
So we're supposed to have a letter.
Yeah, we'll have a first draft of a, oh gosh, what is that called? Findings and conclusions. Yes, we should have a final draft by then.
Yes, we should have one.
Okay.
Anything else for good of the order?